Welcome to Jason Rick YouTube channel. She-Hulk bangs Daredevil. Episode 8 of She-Hulk begins with a new hero called Leapfrog showing up and trying to stop a couple of robbers. Unfortunately, he has a defective suit, and everything goes awry. He tells Jen all of this at the law firm, who believes he should be entitled to compensation. Jen agrees to represent him, until she finds out the suit was made by Luke Jacobson. The same Luke Jacobson who made her supersuit. If there's one thing we've learned about Jen this season, she's selfish and only looks out for her own interests. She heads over to her boss to confirm as much, wanting one of the other lawyers to take this case. After all, Jacobson is her tailor and believes this is a conflict of interest as he makes nice clothes and she doesn't want to piss him off. The only solution is to see Jacobson and in doing so, tries to compromise with him. Jacobson refuses, ripping down her dress he's been making and deciding they should meet in court. Jacobson is represented by Matt Murdock. Who's this asshole? Jen says, upon his arrival at the courtroom. The pair go back and forth about privacy, namely, that for superheroes. Matt puts in a really compelling argument, especially as he throws shade at Jen for wanting to be a celebrity and using her powers for her own personal gain. For others who genuinely want to help people, they have big enemies, and seeing Jacobson forced to open up and reveal the identity of said heroes would be catastrophic. Matt wins the case, but just so Jen doesn't look too weak, it's revealed, thanks in part to Murdock's keen sense of smell, that he's been using jet fuel in his boosters, which was against instructions. But then on the flip side, it would seem that Female Lawyer of the Year didn't actually do her due diligence to find out everything about his suit. In doing so, she may have actually found this out without the need to even go to court. Jen basically just jumped on this case before doing her homework, as lawyers usually do. Anyway, Luke also refuses to go back to making suits for her. Matt Murdock buys Jen a drink and decides that She-Hulk should be able to help other people and she has the resources to do that. When Jen heads home, Leapfrog phones and points out that he's being attacked by someone. She-Hulk appears in her suit and begins smashing the place up, causing public damage to a car park and noticing that it's Daredevil who's on the scene. She picks up a random car and throws it at him before using her clap power to knock him down. Jen immediately takes off his mask and realizes that he's Matt Murdock. It turns out that Leapfrog has actually kidnapped Luke Jacobson to make him a new suit. Hey, remember last episode when Jen was annoyed that her car was smashed up in the crossfire from those supers? I wonder if we'll see the owner of that lovely car she threw across the parking lot make a complaint. The pair team up together to head into the warehouse that Leapfrog is holding Jacobson inside of. Matt tells She-Hulk that stealth is the way to go, and immediately breaks in and starts smashing heads. Naturally, Jen only listens to Jen, so She-Hulk jumps in too, and the stealth plan goes completely out the window. As they all start fighting the goons off, Leapfrog jumps out the window and hurts himself in the process. Luke Jacobson agrees to make Jen's gala dress and everything is resolved. In the midst of all this, Jen also takes a fancy to Daredevil, which is hardly surprising given we've seen she's desperate for a hookup all season long. And of course, that's exactly what happens. She takes him back to her apartment and the pair have sex. In the morning, Daredevil amusingly shuffles past the neighbor without bothering to even put his shoes back on. With the episode coming to a close, Jen gets dressed up for the gala, where the truth about She-Hulk is revealed to everyone, including how she's a slut and only looks out for herself. Jen loses control and begins hulking out, unable to control her anger. As she heads outside, after smashing up the gala, armed guards hold guns to her. The episode review. She-Hulk returns this week with the episode everyone has been waiting for, showcasing Matt Murdock as Daredevil. It's great to see Matt back and the chapter actually has some action in, which is nice to see. Although, amusingly even that wasn't great, given Matt told Jen that he'd be going in stealthily, and proceeds to start beating goons up and causing a massive racket. The biggest problem here though is Jen's character, who's still deeply flawed and hard to like. Along with being incredibly selfish, she's also narcissistic. We've seen Jen across the season basically sleep with men on the first date, as well as drinking copious amounts of alcohol day and night. Whether it be getting smashed at a wedding, making it all about herself and throwing up, or taking a shot before a big date, every episode has depicted her drinking. Jen is also a pretty bad lawyer, from the scenes we've seen in the courtroom and at work. Whether it be belittling and berating her own client in Mr. Immortal, or texting Josh and setting up a dating profile in her office when she's supposed to be working, we've seen absolutely nothing to suggest she's a competent lawyer, let alone the best. This certainly isn't the worst episode of the season though, and there are a few fun moments, but given how low the bar has been set for this show, that's hardly a compliment.